Welcome to Alfred's Apiary. This morning we picked up the bees that we ordered back in December. During the winter and spring, Rob has been putting together the beehive and has it assembled with the electric fence that is going to protect our precious bees from the bears that would love to eat the larvae. And we are preparing in a few minutes to set our brand new bees free in their brand new home. The first step to releasing the bees is to give them a little spritz with some sugar water. It makes them fly a little less because they will have their wings wet, and it just kind of calms them down. And we stand a better chance of getting them, most of them, in the hive instead of flying all over the place. So we're sprayed one side, we're going to spray the other. They've been humming all morning. Okay, they are spritzed.
Okay, now I'm going to give them a shake.
Give them a little good shake to settle them down to the bottom. Okay, they are settled. Next, we take their little food can out so we can get to the queen, who is in her own separate little container. And yeah, there comes a bee, but there is the queen's container with a few bees all over it. And we're going to check the queen and make sure that she's in good shape. And the verdict is?
She is. She's good.
She's in good shape, so we're going to set her aside for a little bit and get back to her in a few minutes. And next comes the real fun. We're going to remove the can once more. Maybe. I'm going to shake them down one more time. Going to spritz them just a little bit. They're still a little too lively. It's a little chilly out here today, but they say that's good. You want to release the bees on a cool day or a cool part of the day. Okay, here comes the can. We're going to remove it and set it aside carefully. Trying not to kill any bees as we set it down. There we go. Now we're going to turn it upside down and pour the bees into the hive. And there they all go.
I didn't turn my camera on, but that's all right.
Just humming right away. Let's get a little closer. Oh yeah, I got a bee buzzing around me. Glad I've got my suit on. Oh yeah, look at them pour in there. Aren't they cute? Pretty little ladies. Okay, they'd never do all go in at once, but you leave that little box close by and they will eventually find their new home. Now there's a whole chain of them. There you go. There are between 12 and 15,000 of these pretty little ladies in each hive. Hard to believe there can be that many.
I don't know if this thing opens up.
I don't think so. They talked about just pouring it out. Okay, we have most of the bees in there. So now we're going to smooth them all out so that they aren't all bunched up, because we have a bunch of frames to put back in. We currently have 4 frames in there. So we've got 6 more to put back in there.
Now I've got to get the queen in here.
As we put the frames in, there's a special spot that we need to put the little box with the queen. She and her workers need to get acclimated to each other. So she's going to spend 3 days in her little box, suspended there with all of her little workers around her. In 3 days, we will release her. You can hear those workers just humming. Okay, now we're going to pick up the box with the queen, and we are going to get her positioned just right. between two frames. If the workers won't be in the way. There's a little hook. Oops. I'm watching you instead of watching the camera. Okay, another frame. And can we get the 10th one in? There is the 10th frame. All right. We have the queen secured. Okay, the next step is to get the bees some food. They have been traveling, and we don't exactly have tons of flowers out, although we are starting to get some from the flowering trees. So until they can make enough food for themselves, they are fed sugar water. So this is a plastic bucket that is filled with a sugar and water solution with holes, little tiny holes poked in the bucket, and the bees can go to those little holes and get some nourishment and start making some food for themselves. And we're going to put a box around that in a minute to protect them so nothing knocks them over. What are you finding there? Another bee?
I'm not sure if
if he made it.
Okay or not, yeah.
Okay, another box going over the food just to protect it. There's a bee on the outside there, but
That's all right.
it'll find its way in. Okay. We'll help it. There we go.
Now the inner cover goes on.
Okay, there's more than one cover. This is the inner one. And then we have an outer one that's going to keep all the rain and nasty elements out, keep them safe. And there they are. They're intact, and we're going to let them do their own thing all by themselves for the next 3 days before we come back and do the next stage.
Which is releasing the queen.
And that cinder block is just a little added protection, make sure nothing comes along and knocks the lid off. And I think we're set to go here.